We are live. I actually don't know. When we go live, does it change your screen? Do you see anything special?
It just tells me I'm in the show, which is exciting.
There you go. You're now in the show. You're now in the Wellbeing podcast show, which is exciting for you, mate. You've now achieved a new height, a new level of greatness.
I'm looking forward to it, Rich. I'm looking forward to it.
No, thanks, mate. Hello, everybody. If you are here already, thank you for joining. Please let me know you are here, or let us know you are here. Say hello in the comments. Even add where you're from. Maybe even add a name, because sometimes it does come up and it doesn't tell us who is commenting and asking questions. But the more engagement we get, the better. So please do add your questions, add your involvement, because it just makes this a much better show. It's not. I feel like it's EastEnders or something. But yeah, it does make it better for you guys. But yeah, I was just going to ramble normally. Where are we? We've got 25 seconds to go before we get started. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a good week and enjoying the start of summer or summer holidays. I think today and last week was like the end of schools. So everybody's now looking after children and trying to manage looking after children and coming to watch us.
Just add an extra thing to the workload. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
In the summer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when it's boiling hot.
Yeah.
Or they're off on holiday, unlike us. Let's get started. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I will repeat myself just in case you have joined. Please add, comment, say hello, ask Olly questions throughout, because you'll have the insights that you want to know, rather than the things I think you guys want to know, or the things I find interesting. So please add comments into the chat. But thank you for joining. Thanks, Olly. Thank you for joining as well. Really looking forward to this conversation. It's one of my most favorite things to do is look at performance from a sports angle and try to pick out those lessons we learn and understand performance and understand what elite performance is. But more so, I think more importantly for what we do is understanding what we can learn from those lessons and how we implement those into our lives as professionals. And Olly, with the experience and what he does, is going to add so much value. And I think this is going to be a great conversation. So what I'll do, I'll get Olly to speak in a second, because I'm going to shut up shortly, is just introduce myself. If you don't know who I am, my name's Rich. I am the founder of two businesses now, LP Revolution, which is a leadership performance coaching training company looking at leadership teams and individuals, creating sustainable high performance at each level, as well as Employees Health, which is a workplace wellbeing company, helping people to improve their health and wellbeing, as well as organizations to look after their people. If you want to know more about either of those, drop me a line. I'm here for any questions you have. Anyway, my time to shut up. Olly, thanks. Please introduce yourself. Tell me who you are and what you do.
Sounds like blind date.
The next questions are more interesting.
So hi folks. So I'm Olly Deasy, and I kind of have two identities, I suppose. So I have my job where I work for NFP in the people development sort of section, people and talent, where we deal with people development, so looking at leadership development, performance development of people within organizations, how they work together and achieve the goals that they want to achieve. But within that sort of people and talent area, we also have organizational transformation, career transition, HR services, and talent acquisition as well. So we do the whole sort of hire to retire piece. I'm a qualified coach. So I've been coaching individuals and high performing individuals for a few years now. And if I'm going to be honest, I have a real passion of just the development of people, how people can get the best out of themselves, and how teams can kind of come together to perform to their highest level to reach a set mission. Away from the work side of things, I'm married. I've got 2 dogs, 1 cat. My wife's got a horse now as well. So we have a bit of a zoo at home, but I also I play hockey, and I've had the privilege of playing a semi-professional sport since I was about 13, and balance that sort of high performing sport with high performing in my job and hopefully in my home life as well. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
So contestant number one, your first question is that I'm joking. Thank you, Jess, for sharing. I guess let's look at the hockey side, because we're going to look at the work side and getting your insights into performance shortly. But let's look at the hockey side. Tell me a bit more about that journey and some of the lessons you've learned along the way there.
Okay, yeah. So hockey's an interesting one. So I actually started hockey a little bit later than you might anticipate. So I started around 12, and was very fortunate to have some great people around me to sort of push and drive me into a sport which I happen to do well at, enjoyed, played, and became sort of successful from credential side of things. It sort of started off in school teams or club teams, moved through to county, and then I used to have incredibly big blonde hair and played with ski gloves on, which is very frowned upon because the stick used to hurt my hands. And anyway, I'm sure there was more to it, but that allowed me to get selected for sort of regional teams and then international teams. And yeah, sort of once I was on the circuit, played captain 16s, 18s, 21s, England A, was in sort of training squads with the main kind of England setup, and in line with that was playing Premier League hockey from the age of about 19, and now I've got to the age of 37. Still playing hockey, so internationally for the over 35s, where we've had some amazing moments and experiences the last 2 or 3 years. And I've just moved from Premier League hockey on a bit of a development piece, really, with another club, which is really exciting. So sort of moving into that sort of coaching head of performance role at a different club.
Yeah. Putting all of that work knowledge into coaching knowledge.
Yeah, I think they complement each other so well. You know, you've just basically got people who are kind of behind a direction and a passion. That's sort of how do you put that together in a way which gets the best out of each person? How do they contribute fully to that mission? What's the scaffold, if there is any scaffold you need to give them? And then how do we celebrate the right things that we see regularly, both on and off the pitch? And again, for me, there's a lot of I suppose things that can be taken into the world of work from that sporting environment, from, as I say, a set of people looking to achieve something together.
Yeah, 100%. I really like it because obviously, unfortunately, I don't have the same CV as you, but with the same kind of passion and taking it. I did this quite a bit earlier, and I wish I kind of did it a bit later with the knowledge I have now. Is going, how do I take this knowledge I have around high performing teams and how getting the most out of individuals and put that into a team setting in a sports focus? And actually, because I run my own business, I don't have that team to implement some of these things. How do I now put that into a team which I'm going to see twice a week, 3 times a week, maybe, and impact them, influence them in the same way that you can do as a team, which is coming together more often? I find that really interesting.
Yeah, fascinating. So, I mean, and again, you've got that sort of, it's a slightly different environment that you've signed up to. You know, you haven't got the sort of the regular touch points as such, I suppose, within the team that you're seeing every day, but you can still, as you've mentioned, still drive certain behaviors, expectations. Could probably have those touch points actually if you wanted to. So yeah, it's fascinating that how they're experts in their world, so you've got to appreciate that, but then you're expert maybe in this team dynamics and team or individual performance, and it's like that blend is how do you make that as successful as possible?
Whilst trying to play in the same team and at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
I feel like we might use that knowledge around the coaching as a couple of questions later on. But before I get into kind of what performance at work means for you, when you look back at your career as a hockey player, you've done pretty well. and that's like underestimating that. You've done really well. What do you think was the main reason you did so well? What kind of behaviours or things stand out to why you performed the way at the level you did?
Yeah, I think there's probably some core concepts there. I think that to kick off, like, I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved the sort of the environment. I enjoyed the sort of being around people at weekends. I enjoyed sort of the running around makes you feel good, and the sport and the endorphin side of things. There was a very basic need, I suppose, of just enjoying community, enjoying sport. Was a fundamental kickoff. And then you sort of go to your support network in that. I was very privileged and lucky to have very supportive family. Well, they both would give up most weekends to allow me to go and train and play. So I had that, and then we had the technical support as well of good coaches. And I think that something which you take for granted when you're younger, but sort of people that told you what your strengths were, so you kind of got more and more confident as you developed. So it's kind of strengths-based stuff. So that you've got this combination of that sort of support network, the sort of physical point of view, feeling good, enjoyment, which I suppose links into that mental side of things, doing something you enjoy. So yeah, a combination of things really. And again, one which isn't talked about huge amounts. Sometimes I think in British culture we don't embrace it, but there's also a bit of an ego that goes with that as well. You're doing well, you're being celebrated for being good at something, and that links directly for me to confidence. I wouldn't say I've got a big external ego, but certainly internally it's sort of, you're doing well, keep going, and you build this sort of confidence ego trait around that. You have a bit of an identity around it, and that continues that trajectory and that learning, I suppose.
Yeah, I picked out 3 things which I thought were really interesting. Enjoyment, you said loads of times, right? But it wasn't just enjoyment for employees. Like, you picked out a few different areas which for me are important. The enjoyment of competition, of being in that competitive nature, collaboration, and the enjoyment of being part of that community, I think is really important. You said good coaching, kind of out of your control.
Yeah.
But I think when we look later on in this, we'll probably touch on that, and then the positive reinforcement.
Yep.
Some of that is potentially doable. Skills we don't have when we're young, the ability to give ourselves more positive reinforcement.
Yeah. I think those things are all key. And I think it's the enjoyment of just learning new stuff. Not just the competitiveness. It's sort of just learning new things and having the opportunity to play and learn. Again, if we're talking purely on a sports side of things, that you practice and play a lot more than you actually perform for results. And again, it's that environment when you're growing up is quite good fun. You try things without any sort of repercussion. It's like, off you go, try it, and that leads to sort of motivation, because you're trying different things, and if it works, it works, and you do it again, and if you don't, then you don't. So it's all that sort of skill acquisition piece as well, from an enjoyment point of view, that fulfillment of achieving something yourself.
I really like that, because I reflect back on when I was younger about, I was always so scared of the failure. If I messed up, I was always so angry on myself, rather than enjoying that process. Whereas when I think as I got to about 26, 27, I began to go, okay, let's enjoy the learning of tactically what I need to be doing better, and technically what I need to be doing better as well. And once I embraced that, I got a much better player.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting piece, because that's also can be created by environment, I feel, as well. So, it's sort of, and what's the messaging and narrative on the pitch when you're playing? Is it give it a go and try, or is it don't make a mistake? I've been in plenty of teams where it's sort of you're worried about making a mistake, and your sort of visceral response and sort of human nature response to that is, higher heart rate. You start thinking through stuff very quickly. You see this ball coming at you, which is bouncing, which usually you would trap without even thinking about it. Suddenly you're like, am I going to trap it? All these sort of intrusive thoughts come into your head about it's going to edge off, and then X is going to shout at me, and then the coach is going to pull me off, and all of that. And there's no doubt that I've had that before, I think. But at the beginning of my journey, or the beginning of my playing, then it was very much an environment of give it a go, no expectation, go and play. And that was fantastic for myself.
It makes a big difference. I had the opposite way around, but I think from that, I had that environment where I was criticized for mistakes. That made me focus on putting more effort into not making the mistakes at the same time. But was I enjoying it as much, and was I getting better? Was my confidence up? Was I a good player at that point? Probably not, but technically I got better because I didn't want to make the mistakes.
Yeah, and again, different people will different things will work for different people. There's no right or wrong. It's just creating that environment which allows that person to kind of play with their ingredients, I suppose, to then perform. Mine happened at a young age to be on a hockey pitch over school studies. I'm sure my teacher were delighted with that. But I say, it's sort of, how does that person then, I don't know, create the right ingredients for them physically, mentally, socially, to then perform in could be quite a high level, stressful environment, which elite sports is.
Yeah, I agreed. Look, we did say that we would struggle not to talk about hockey and not to talk about kind of hockey and our experiences, I guess. But let's take this into the workplace, or not in the workplace, but just out of hockey.
Yeah.
My first question for you is, what does performance or high performance mean to you?
Yeah, it's a good question. And firstly, high performance and performance, I always think that performance is all right. I don't understand why high goes in front of it sometimes. But so from a performance point of view, what does it mean to me? So I'll probably ramble for a little bit on that. I haven't got a perfect definition. I have heard some great definitions from certain people, which I'll share. But for me, it's sort of, it's probably the stuff that's not celebrated in society as much as it should be. So you've got the behaviors, you've got the consistent application of behaviors, and those behaviors may be seen as boring. And for me, that's really interesting. So if you can apply a behavior over and over again, consistently, in, say, a physical way, just taking it to a human level, a mental way, a social way, towards a driven purpose, then if you can do that sustainably to deliver results, I think that's performance for me. There's a link there, and I don't know how I'd entwine it into a definition, but one that links it to someone's core values and their sense of identity as well, and ensuring that those can all kind of stay going in one direction with energy. So that's not a perfect definition, but it is one which we can start to take control of certain parts of that. Performance is an interesting one in the workplace, and some colleagues that I used to work with, a guy called Keith Hatter and Chris Shambrook, that when performance is talked about in the workplace, it's usually results that they talk about. It's not performance. So when you have your performance review, and there will be some great companies that don't do this, but it tends to be around, have you hit your KPIs and have you hit your results?
Upper.
Right. So performance, I think for me, one of the key things for an organization or for a team is to actually figure out what this word performance means for them, and be aligned on that that common language, that common currency. Because you could be, you've said high performance, you could be talking about something completely different from me, because it's a word and we haven't got clarity on it. So yeah, I think so. From performance, let's again, going back to Chris, who's a fantastic psychologist, he doing the things you need to do to get the results you want is one that him and Keith came up with, which I think is it starts to put things into your control and take ownership of it. And there's
doing things in your control to get the results you want.
doing things you need to do to get the results you want. Is, let's say, from Chris and Keith, and that's the most simple one I've heard before, which lands brilliantly with organizations and with people. But there's many different versions of that floating around now. But that one really resonates with myself, and it links directly into the sort of the things that we can control, which is that mental, social, physical side of things.
I love the simplicity of it, but brings back in this, as you said, knowledge of there are things that we can do to get to help us get to our outcome or the output of success or performance.
Absolutely, and this is where that sort of confusion comes from, because organizations don't use performance in that way, or some don't. That's a bit of a generalized statement, but most people, when they talk about performance, it's your results that they're looking at. And if you start to get both of them entwined, if you're thinking about a human, that's quite confusing, because you could be performing really, really well and doing everything in your power, but still not getting the results, because results are impacted by things out of your control.
Or the results or the goals might be too far away, so the outcomes are never going to achieve it.
Yeah, and again, I mean, that goes into then goal setting, which is interesting. So goal setting tends to happen in an organization once a year.
Which is crazy.
You could say that. I mean, so, I'm going to set my goals for my revenue or my profitability or whatever we're setting on the spreadsheet. I'm going to set that in April. And then we're going to have all these different things that impact economic climate, all these things out of your control, war as well, things that are generally happening at the moment within the world, and yet we keep the same goal. It's like, well, we haven't taken into account our environment, we haven't taken into account what's going on. We're just kind of plowing on without thinking and resetting our goals. Put it simply into an athlete point of view, that's sort of saying, I want to run a PB next week, but I pull my hamstring on Monday, and I don't change my sort of goals, and then I'm disappointed if I don't hit them. It's like, well, that's a goal that you've set yourself up for failure. So again, organizations can fall into the trap of setting one goal and staying with it instead of assessing what's actually going on.
I completely agree. I want to go back. You talk about behaviors you've spoken about behaviors quite a lot. Before we go into the team side of things, because I find understanding team performance, and I'm now going to bracket performance for you. Understand team performance. What are the key behaviors for individual? What are the ones that really stand out? Maybe give me the top 5 or 3 that stand out as your key behaviors or things that you can do to create performance.
I think that consistency is one. repeatable things that you do over and over and over again is really important. I think that being disciplined, again, an interesting word in the UK language. If you say discipline, it's usually got quite a negative connotation to it.
Mm-hmm.
But to be disciplined to do the things over and over again is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
I think being boring, I said it earlier, is another good one. I think that having, what else would I say? We'll stick with those three for a minute.
Okay.
And see if anything else pops into my head. But again, it's when you think about behaviors, it's sort of the regular. It depends what your outcome wants to be, I suppose, as well. I think there's a piece missing there. So, if it depends how you want to present, how you want to be perceived, all of these things will lead to the behaviors that you then do.
Mm-hmm.
But those sort of character traits that I spoke about, I think link very close to behaviors. Yeah.
I think I wrote down consistency here. And the reason why I wrote it down is because I want to, I guess, make the point of how do I want to make this point? Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So doing the things you need to be doing to achieve perfect, but consistently. So in regard, what I mean by that is, if we're consistently doing bad behaviors, that doesn't help us achieve success or high performance, right?
No, so that's where the goal setting becomes really important, because it's sort of, or a mission or whatever you've decided to put at the top of the sort of the funnel, I suppose, is my behavior that I'm doing going towards that or not. The consistency is the thing that builds feedback loops. Is the thing that builds, it's not an all or nothing 100%. The next day is going to be 100% better, but it's going to be 1% or 0.5% or 0.2% better. And then it's enjoying the journey to the potential goal. And it's something that I definitely have battled with before. Sort of, I want to be there now. I don't understand. So I want to I want to go to the gym, and then I want to be the strongest or the most powerful or the quickest. And it's like, well, there's a reality piece here, which is, again, it's a tough piece to sometimes swallow, is that you can't just do something once and expect to be the best at it. People practice daily for hours and hours. I think, and I'm happy to be told otherwise, but Chris Hoy and Michael Johnson, so Chris Hoy the cyclist, Michael Johnson the sprinter, never missed a training session.
Oh wow.
Never missed one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that they were training to like 100% every time. It doesn't mean that they were, heart rate of 200 beats per minute every time. It means that they still went and they did something, and that something contributed towards, to probably the most celebrated athletes ever. So yeah, it's that, I suppose it's just making sure that, say, the bad behaviors, or the ones that aren't taking, the unhelpful ones we'll call them, which aren't taking you in the direction that you want to go as a team or as an individual, being aware of those. I think the hardest bit is then the acceptance of them, and then the change of action.
Yeah, I think I really like the use the feedback loop, and you're just reflecting, just understanding, okay, where am I on this journey? Am I doing the right things? How could I be doing a better job? When I think about athletes, the thing they do really well is that self-reflection. Maybe they don't do it so well, but as a team, as a collective, with the coaches involved, they'll go, look, we recognize that you're fantastic at this, but we need to work on kicking the ball with the left foot, hitting the ball with backhand, receiving a backhand pass, whatever it might be, right? They break those skills down and go, this is where we need to be working. And it's just that consistent, zoomed out vision of performance and what they can be doing to be better, and then working on those areas.
Yeah, there's a couple of bits there. So you've got So in work, we get very busy operationally, doing the whole time, which is, again, that's a reality of work. What's my inbox? I've got to do this. I've got to attend this meeting. So giving that time to just provide a check-in with yourself and where you're at is can be helpful. The other pieces you've said, so I mean, for those that watch tennis, Wimbledon is a classic example of this, but they have their players box they turn to, and all those players the team have a role, and they have role clarity of what they're providing that athlete. Obviously in work it's probably not as binary as that, but again, knowing who your support network is and can they actually help you to do that piece when you're operationally busy of checking in is quite important. And then the third thing, which I'm going to sort of maybe just reposition slightly, is that building from a base of strengths is really important. So you said about things to get better at. So from a confidence point of view for people, it's easier to sort of, I say it's easier, it's not easy. If we can focus on what we're doing well and lead with that. So although, I don't know, Roger Federer probably had the best backhand in the world, he still went and practiced it every day. He didn't stop practicing it. So it's an addition to what you said. It's like, okay, so what can we dial up and where can we put some energy to make some impact, which may help us towards our goal in our recipe of performance as a person, but also what can we continue to do, which is brilliant already. And that's a really, from a positive psychology point of view, that's a really important part, because it then allows and helps people lead with confidence.
Yeah. I 100% agree. Don't forget that's the areas that you're doing well. Keep building on them. Keep positive reinforcement. Roger Federer hit that backhand. Another fantastic backhand. Another fantastic confidence. Now work on this area. Work on that area. Confidence. Work on that area.
Yeah. Where can we dial up value? So it's that sort of again, you're going to have people in your team that may be able to do something that you can't. And it's sort of, okay, we see that and we appreciate it and we want you to keep leading with that. And then there may be something else you can add to your armory, another string to your bow, as well as that, which is going to help drive our team forward again. And that's great. And say we as humans are instinctively wired to recognize stuff we're not good at. And that comes from adapting to survive. We're not quite in that same environment and survival state anymore, but it doesn't mean that sometimes our thoughts don't go that way. It's like, what am I not good at? What am I not leading with? What can I improve? Not, what are you doing brilliantly already? Keep doing it. That should be part of a performance review.
Yeah, 100%.
And then you add in the other bits where it's like, okay, now I'm going to actually take some of my energy and focus on something that's going to make me even more valuable and bring even more sort of expertise to the workplace or to the sports field or to home, wherever you want to put it, really.
And this is why I think for the workplace, the assessments you can do, whether that's the colours assessment, whether that's strength assessment, whether that's Hogan, whether that's kind of anything which gives you creates a level of awareness of the things you do really, really well. Also areas for us to continuously work on at the same time. It's such a valuable piece of feedback and not awareness that we all need and can help us lean into. When I found out, when I was told, or kind of when the awareness comes to me that I'm a social human being, which I already kind of knew, but kind of gave me a little bit more awareness around how that works for me. Then I knew that, okay, well, I have to put myself in front of people as much as I can and build relationships and enjoy those social moments. And when I do that, I will perform better because I just the person I am. I did my Gallup strengths and I found out I was a competitive person. Fantastic. And how can I create competition to help me perform better?
And it's really interesting, the sort of when they're used in that context of sort of, okay, what's next, that they're really, really, they can be really powerful. That confidence piece is really interesting that you spoke about, because again, if you're linking to theory side of things of a human being, you've got self-determination theory by Decky and Ryan. And one of those pieces is relatedness, which is that connection you're talking about. And again, different people have different things that they lean on. If relatedness or being connected is one for you, you know that helps you to feel motivated. And if you feel motivated, then you're more likely to go and do it. But again, intentionally having control on that and knowing when that needs dialing up or dialing down, that's where the psychometrics can really help. They say that awareness, but the acceptance is the most important thing of those. And again, for some people they're very useful, for others they may not be. And it's, again, each person is different.
Yeah 100%. I want to move into the next section. I kind of put down 3 sections. And this section is like the lessons from sport. And we've touched on this already a little bit, but I really want to just dive in from like the key lessons that a professional can take, or professional team. Maybe we probably don't have the time to do all of those in detail, but what are the key things that you could take for an individual from the lessons from elite athletes?
I think I'm going to try and not merge too much into this. If I'm thinking about sort of what you can take, it's commitment to something and doing it as fully as you can, as regularly as you can. Again, sort of those moments of, you finish work at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and you've got training at 7. You finish at 6. You've got an hour's drive. It's November, but you've made you've made commitment to a group of people who are all committing to do the same thing as you, which is to finish as high as they can in a certain league. I think commitment to a set mission with a group of people is powerful. I think then that consistency of doing it, so Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays is hockey. Like, for me, always has been. Around that is gym, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday break, Thursday, Friday, 5 a.m. wake up to do that. So the consistency of applying that into your world, which is not easy and does take commitment, is a really interesting thing. Communication is my next one. Being able to communicate with people in a way that works for your team doesn't mean that you have to like everyone, but you put that to the wayside, and you can still have robust conversations. You can still have conversations which are slightly uncomfortable, but it's all done from a place of we're driving in one direction and towards a target, and we have committed to a set of values, some shared behaviors to make that happen. And therefore, the way that you communicate, the way you talk to each other, the way that you interact with each other can be taken 100% into a workplace or into other walks of life. I think then the last piece, and this is a personal one, is the compassion for others as well. So you've got that sort of that trusted environment where you can have robust conversations, but you've also got a compassionate piece of where, you're listening to people, you're understanding more than just the surface level of what's going on. You're having the small conversations consistently, and that's that leads into more of a leadership style, I suppose. But I think those things are really important. I could go on for hours on that, I think, but I won't. I won't do that.
Yeah, do you know, it's interesting that you asked that question, and the first thing was just the consistency again.
Yeah, commitment of it. Yeah, it's one of those ones like you. It's the same with work in a way. Like you sign up for something. You have made a choice. So I have chosen to join a club. Within that club, they choose to have these values. Within this workplace, they choose to have these values. The reality of playing in a team sport is that if you win, you do well. If you lose, you don't. I've signed up for that. In business, if we make sales, we do well. If we don't, unless we're a different sort of setup organization, then it's going to be tough. I've signed up for, I have chosen to sign up for all of that. And therefore, I'm making a commitment to that. This may sound a bit more of a personal thing. So if I then make a choice which goes away from that commitment towards that goal, then for me that sits really weirdly, because I'm like, why would I make that choice? And that sounds really simple, and I know it's not as easy as that, but that's how I sort of operate. If I have to do something which isn't in work time, but it helps us as a team get towards something which we've all decided and agreed that we want to get to, that's okay. I'm not saying I burn out from it. I'll go and get my rest and recover in a different time. But I'm very lucky with the leadership that I have around me who understand that. Within the club scenario, sport, it's like I've made a commitment to be there every Tuesday, every Thursday. I'm a leader within the group, so I won't be late. I'll turn up in a certain way with a certain attitude, and that's that. And it's not easy, but you do it, and you signed up to it.
I completely agree with you, but we are both from the same background, right? I think where this becomes challenging in the workplace now is that we have huge passions for the things we do. We have huge purposes. We have huge kind of invested whys, both for hockey and probably for work, right? We both want to do this.
Yeah.
When it becomes more challenging to keep that performance is when maybe a restructure or you just begin to fall out of love with that, or maybe you're not aligned. Your values and your purpose isn't really matching what the company wants anymore, or wherever it might be, right? What happens then? How do you get that back?
Yeah, I suppose, and again, I don't think there's any right answer, and I say sit here in a slightly, I suppose, privileged position that had a good education and I've got good support networks and things like that. I agree, but you'll still make a choice at some point. Is this place aligning with my values of who I am as a person? If they are, then great. If they're not, then is there any values you can flex on? Because again, as you said, there may be so many circumstantial things like families, mortgages, realities of day-to-day life that actually it is really important. I can't lose it, sort of thing.
But then that becomes the purpose, right? This is the argument.
May change purpose. Yeah. Your own purpose will change. Yeah.
Because this is a conversation I have.
That's interesting.
Because I think there's a lot of people who don't live to work.
Yeah.
And so it's understanding, well, that's okay. You don't have to live to do the job you do. Some people love the job and they live for it. And I don't think that's really healthy either. It's understanding like lots of different eggs in the basket rather than just the one.
Yeah.
Or lots of different baskets, probably a better way to put it. But understanding, well, what does that basket give me? I know I have to go to work. Okay. If it's not giving me that, I love going to this place because it helps me with my sense of purpose for that thing I'm trying to achieve. Whether that's you're working in aviation and you love planes and you like building that, or you want to be part of tech because you want to create the next thing for the next generation, wherever it might be, right? If none of those are the thing, it might just be to help you live a better life outside of work. Understanding that is the purpose, and so you go to work for that to allow it to support that life or that purpose.
I suppose that's an acceptance of a different purpose coming in, maybe, or awareness and acceptance of it. It reminds me of was it Scotty Scheffler recently? Have you seen his quote? Seen his quote? I mean, he obviously earns incredibly good prize money and whatnot, but he's still, his purpose is like, oh, it's short lived, sort of the happiness around it and the excitement around it, because his purpose, he's sort of, God, you could go on for a bit with this. This is me just thinking on the spot, but like the positioning of perspective for him looks as though he's doing his passion, and he happens to be really good at it because he practices loads and he's put in the hours and effort. But he said there's more to life than golf, and that again, maybe that helps him in a way, position it in a way that works for him to be able to perform, because it means it's not the be all or end all. His family or being healthy or whatever it is the sort of his set mission. And again, go on.
I was going to say, he's in a very privileged position because of the prize money he's won over the last however many years. He could probably give it all up, right, and still be okay. But the fact he's still going to keep giving to his family, which is from what he said and what you have to read between the lines of, is that the reason why he keeps doing it, I guess.
Yeah, and I suppose, and again, we're going off on a little tangent here, but that perspective piece is quite an interesting one to play with. So, and again, sort of, you're talking about setting different purposes and goals. I remember speaking to a friend years ago, we were like 15, 16 at school, and he was an unbelievable rugby player. But he had damaged his discs in his back, and he was like, I'm giving up rugby. And I was like, oh God, that sounds bad. In your head, you're worried for them and sort of their identity again, of who they are as a person and everything they've built up. And but he said, I have a vision that I want to pick up my kid when I'm 30 without pain. And so he'd almost positioned it in a way where it's like, actually, I'm making this bigger than the moment. I'm making it a life thing. And that's really resonated with me. And you go right back to the beginning of the conversation about the sort of the physical aspect of things. Why do I stay fit? It's like, yes, it's to play sport, but it's also because at 90, I still want to be able to walk a dog. And I won't be playing sport then. I wouldn't have thought at a high level. Who knows? But
there is over 90s.
There is over 90s. But the positioning of that is almost like an even bigger goal or mission away from the sort of those small ones. So I want to be able to walk. I want to be able to do all those things that you do when you're 40 and 50 without bad knees and bad hips. I imagine I'll probably have to have something done, but due to the amount I've played. But do you know what I mean? There's something bigger going on there than just I want to win, or I want to win a league, or I want to stay fit for the team. There's almost the next stage up. And I wonder if that playing with that purpose piece can help people stay motivated.
Yeah, I think 100% so. It helps. Yeah, for me, the purpose piece, especially when you talk about the gym, and I guess I could probably put that into work, right? Like my purpose is, by the time I get to 60, is to be. There's a vision I've created, and so that's what motivates me to keep going. The gym is, well, when I have my kids in 20 years' time, I want to be fitter than them when they're 20.
Yeah.
Like my goal. That's my goal. I'm a competitive person, so I've seen this, and that's the vision. This is why I put the consistency into the training, into lifting weights, into the sport to keep fit. And so I think it's just a massive driver towards motivation, towards that high performance.
Yeah, and that's using goal setting effectively, really. So again, using the goals in different ways for that person and that purpose. And that's interesting. That's interesting.
I want to go back to maybe kind of making it real, right? We spoke about your hockey team, and I know you're now the coach of Marlow, right? Marlow,
yeah.
Marlow. So you're the coach of the Marlow's men team, just being promoted. Good, fantastic job. Sorry, that sounds really condescending. I know you've done a fantastic job, but I will just trying to get into this next bit. We've got 5 minutes, so
yeah.
what are the key things that you're doing there as a leader, as a coach,
to
help them really get the most out of themselves as a team, as themselves, and then as a team together as well, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm very lucky. I've got good other lead coaches around me as well. So got a guy called Jack Turner and a guy called Kevin Chappell, and I've got someone called Rohit Kapoor who leads the twos as well. And we're all set behind what we want to achieve as a coaching team. So we do that setup very early. We have conversations where basically as the season finishes as sort of like next steps, how we're going to do it, what are we going to look like, what behaviors are we going to praise, reward and recognize, what's our ambition for next season. So we have that conversation, sharing it with the group, making sure people they know it, so there's no surprises. Again, what are we going to look to reward behaviors wise? What will we not tolerate? Creating those sort of scaffolds, setting the ambition, again, sharing it. I think one of the challenges we've had, which has been brilliantly sort of looked at and worked over the last year, is that weight of expectation, and playing with that and actually saying, just play. You've got autonomy. The only expectation is you playing your own game. You've been selected for that reason. So again, just helping to position that narrative around things, creating that narrative. We've got a quote, which I probably won't say, but we've got a quote that we, almost a mantra that we say in team talks, which hopefully people know what that means, what behaviors link to that, and what's then expected of them. Making it an enjoyable place to be, both on and off the pitch. Ensuring there's the social connection to the club, and providing opportunity for that to happen. I think that the level of detail that we go into as a coaching team, be that feedback or group conversations or video or those technical aids that kind of help to develop individuals individually and collectively. And I think the other thing and I'm thinking more of as a coaching team, is that we all bring different strengths and we really appreciate that of each other. And we lean in on those at the right times when they're needed. And we talk it through. It's not as though it's sort of any ego around it or anything like that. It's like, we back each other. We know each other's strengths. We let people lead with them. And that's both in the coaching team, but also within the players as well. And that's, again, really important because it gives them autonomy to do stuff. It allows them to play with freedom or coach with freedom. And we regularly ask for, again, feedback from each other on specific things. So, okay, I'm working on this at the moment from my coaching perspective. Can you let me know if you're seeing that? And so we've got very specific feedback sort of mechanisms as well. So there's all of that stuff that I've mentioned is exactly how you would set up it, or pretty much transferable to a team within business.
Yeah.
You've got your pieces that guide culture. So your reward and recognition, your performance reviews side of things, that we do that already. They're already in place in a lot of businesses. It's kind of how you do them, your goal setting, all of that is in place. The leading with strengths in a senior leadership team, that's like, you can set that up. You just have a conversation, and make sure people know. Feedback, how that's used effectively, like that's there. I mean, it's just, is it being used effectively and well? Shared purpose, values, all of these things that we do.
Identity, mantras, all those kind of things. I think this is why I wanted to ask that question. I know how well you run that team and that club. I wish I was closer to Marlow because I think I'd love to be there as well. It sounds like a great environment.
It's good. Like, it's slightly different to work. It's a hobby which people have signed up for. Okay, they happen to be very good at their sport. We respect that. But at the end of the day, they choose whether to turn up or not. And if you're going to choose whether to turn up or not, you have to be role modeling and creating an environment which people want to turn up to.
I think it goes further than that. For a lot of clubs, people pay to be there. It's not turning up, you're paying to be there. So you have even more reason to.
Exactly. And therefore they've got to enjoy it and they've got to buy into it. And you've got to create an environment which allows that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's something, yeah, I do believe that there's huge transferableness from that into the business. It's just got different sort of goals. We probably don't get to practice as much in business, which again, don't see why not. We should be able to go and play and practice to get the results that we want. But it's, yeah, there's an awful lot of transferable stuff there.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to ask that question, because I thought actually, let's put this into a real life thing. If actually see some examples that we can take away. Olly, I really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, insights. Wish we had, and we knew this would be the case, wish we had an extra hour to do this and ask more questions and just explore this in more detail. But we only ever do 50 to an hour, and I have a coaching session next. So I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Everybody else, thank you. I hope you enjoyed that. Keep your eye out for the next one next week, where we're developing the Wellbeing lead. I said, if you have any questions for me and Olly, please ask us on our LinkedIn pages or via email. Yeah. Is there any other way to contact you, Olly? Or is that the best way?
Go LinkedIn is probably best. Yeah, that'd be great.
Perfect. Thanks, mate. Thanks, everybody. See you all soon. Olly, stay where you are.
Cheers, folks.